and welcome to For Every Response, the podcast from Emergency Services Times. I'm Lanna, Deputy Editor, and this is our first show special in the run-up to the Emergency Services show. And across this mini-series, we'll be shining a spotlight on the programme highlights and conversations that you can look forward to when we all come together this September. This episode is sponsored by MSA Safety. So today we're all about health and wellbeing, really making sure that the people who keep us safe get the support they need. And at this year's show, fitness and mental health are taking centre stage. So you can get involved in some live sports demos, try out some fitness challenges, and pick up practical tips for building resilience and avoiding burnout. It's all there to inspire and energise you. In my first interview, I speak to Ange Everington, a full-time firefighter, qualified personal trainer and content creator, sharing workouts, recipes and how she balances life in and out of uniform. This year, she launched the Blue Light Health Club, a wellness community designed to help other first responders really prioritise their health. And on day 2 of the show, she'll be leading 3 workout sessions that are open to everyone. She'll have modifications so you can join in whatever your fitness level. So as you get ready for the Emergency Services Show 2025, stay with us. We've got interviews, expert insights, and a preview of the sessions and activities you won't want to miss this year. So let's get started. So, Ange, it is great to have you with me today. So you are a firefighter, a personal trainer, and a content creator. So you've definitely got your hands full. Can you tell us a little bit about how that all came together and why fitness became such a big part of your life?
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, a bit like a Jane of all trades, I guess. But I always wanted to be like a staff member of the public services when I was small. I think I came out the womb like saying I want to be in the public services. And initially, I really wanted to be a police officer when I was really small. And then as I grew up, during school, I had the opportunity to do a part-time college course where it was public services. So I sat that, learnt more about the services, and then my attention went towards the fire service. I also, as well, liked the whole, I didn't see many girls doing it. So that was an added benefit for myself. And then with fitness, I actually hated PE all throughout school. And then as I got older, along with like a couple of health things, I then found a real love and passion for it. And I really thrive off that feeling of feeling strong. Now, the fire service is one of those jobs where there is quite a bit of free time with how your shifts work. So a lot of people do work 2 jobs, and also as well because it isn't a very well paid job in the grand scheme of things. And I wanted to do personal training alongside being a firefighter. So I became qualified as a personal trainer in 2017, and then I joined the fire service finally in 2020 after 5 years of applying. So it took a while. And then social media just kind of happened. It wasn't actually on the cards. It wasn't something I was aspiring to do or be or happen. And I feel that I'm quite a creative person. And I tried doing the coaching, but then I don't know, I just couldn't, I wasn't enjoying it as much. And then I had this bigger idea of the Blue Light Health Club. But at this point, I had already started to create and build quite a big platform. And then when I was making content one night, I thought, why am I pigeonholing myself to just making content about the fire service? our jobs differ demand-wise, but our lifestyles are the same. So we all have sleep disruption, we all have issues with training, we all have challenges with nutrition. And then that's when my focus then started to be making content around first responders and people in the public sector and people that work shifts.
Amazing. And you're bringing that passion to the emergency services show this year, joining the speaker lineup as part of our new fitness and nutrition theme. So what made you want to take part, and what are you hoping to share with visitors?
I think obviously the emergency services show, like the name of it, and the Blue Light Health Club is just, it's a no-brainer. It's literally an entire expo of my target audience. And it's a way in which to show and highlight the importance of the message of the Blue Light Health Club, which from my experience with talking to people about it and with the success of it already, it is such a necessity, and it's such an opportunity to just meet people and build more on that community of surrounding yourself with people who just get it. That's part of a tagline with the Blue Light Health Club. And yeah, I'm just really excited for it. I think it's something completely new to me. It's me going way out of my comfort zone. And it's just an opportunity really to yeah, try something different.
Definitely. So your session focuses on staying healthy around shift work. That's something that obviously a lot of people do struggle with. So without sort of giving it all away, what is sort of one insight or tip that you'll be highlighting at the show this year?
With training around your shift pattern and like keeping healthy, I would say that the three things to focus on are goals, routine, but also compromise, which I know sounds like a bit of a contradiction, but if you have goals that keeps you motivated, it also keeps you disciplined. And then if you have a routine, you know when your shifts are. We always know, like my shifts go on to eternity unless I move stations or unless they change the shift pattern. And then the compromise comes into it in that if you have a heavy shift and the following day was meant to be your training day, just go easy on yourself and allow your body the time to rest. We're very hard on ourselves, I think, when it comes to like you feel guilty if you haven't like gone to train or stuck to your diet or something. Like if you're out till the early hours of the morning and if you're hungry, yeah, ideally don't eat. But if you do, then like it's fine. You don't have to be hard on yourself. Just make better choices, you know. But yeah, I think definitely that is something that helps me. Goals, routine, and compromise.
And one thing that we obviously hear quite a lot is that fitness can feel quite out of reach, especially if you're maybe new to it, or, you're tired or you're just busy. How do you approach sort of making health and well-being feel more realistic and less overwhelming?
So, one thing I say always at my events is I'm aware that I'm not like your typical shift worker. So, I fully understand and appreciate that I am 32, I am single, I haven't got any children. Like, I have so much free time aside from building businesses and creating content and firefighting. I do have more time than, say, a shift worker who is married with children and who has um, all other commitments. You know what I mean? You do not have to be like myself and train 5, 6 times a week in order to maintain that standard of doing the job. You don't. I do it because I enjoy it. It's also something that really helps with my mind. I love it, and I always itch for the next thing. But if you are someone who is comparing yourself to these things that you see on social media, possibly myself included in that, just focus on being realistic, half an hour, maybe 3 times a week, possibly maybe an hour, 3 times a week, and you can see the difference.
And the show is obviously making space for these conversations because obviously, like you're saying, well-being links directly to resilience, to retention and recovery. And from what you see on the ground, how important is it to really embed this into the sort of workplace culture and not just leave it up to the individual?
It's a tricky one, isn't it? I think there's so much growth to be had in that area of things. So the reason for creating this is like a prevention stage, like the charities that we have available to us are fantastic. Like the help and support is amazing, but there should be more emphasis on don't go to the charity when you've injured yourself, when your mental health is in tatters. Focus on getting that education in now as to why you should be doing this as like a prevention, if not for all the other benefits it gives you. It's definitely something that needs a lot of focus, I truly believe, from my experience. And I think it's it's definitely one that needs a push for sure.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. And then just finally, for anyone that's planning to visit the show, or thinking about taking better care of themselves, what's one small sort of manageable step that you'd recommend starting with?
Be realistic. And by that, I mean, if you are someone who isn't very active, then learn to walk before you can run. So don't go thinking, I only do 1,000 steps a day. I'm going to be hitting 10,000 steps a day because it's not realistic and it's not sustainable. Start gradual and build from there. I.e., if you want to start running, like there's great apps. You can't see it, but I'm wearing a runner t-shirt that offer run plans, and you can start from a beginner and build up from there. It's very much the same with your eating habits. If you go from eating quick, easy, like fast food, and then you go all in on whole foods, it isn't sustainable. If you do gradual changes over a longer period of time, that is going to help you make it more of a lifestyle rather than a quick fix.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Ange. It's been really great to talk to you, and we're really looking forward to seeing you at the Emergency Services Show.
Thank you so much for having me. I can't wait.
Next up, we're moving from physical fitness to something just as vital, protecting our mental and emotional energy. Dr Richard Duggins knows this challenge better than most. He's Associate Medical Director for Culture and Leadership, a psychiatrist and a psychotherapist, and a leadership coach. He leads a regional wellbeing service supporting health and care staff, and he's the author of Burnout Free Working, a practical and compassionate guide to staying well while doing demanding and meaningful work. At the show this year, Richard will be on the People and Skills stage on the 18th of September at 11 a.m. with his session, How to Manage Burnout and Come Back Fighting Fit. I caught up with him ahead of the show to talk about why burnout is such a growing issue in our sector and what we can do both individually and as organisations to tackle it.
Well, I'm a psychiatrist and a psychotherapist who works in staff support systems services, and the work really started for me in the consulting room. One by one, I was meeting brilliant professionals who were really running on empty. They were overwhelmed, exhausted, but still trying to show up at work every day. And over time, I became really curious about what was happening upstream. So I was pulling people like emergency services workers out of the kind of burnout river. They were unwell, they were burnt out. But I wanted to know what was going on. So I wrote a book to really help people understand what's really going on and what people can do to stay well.
And so you've written this new book that looks at burnout through the lens of emergency services case studies. What would you say is sort of one key insight or story from that research that really sort of stands out to you?
Well, a concept I found really useful was a study done in US policemen, and this talked about Euster syndrome. And this term comes from because the policemen who had burnt out were saying things like, I used to go to the gym, I used to go bowling, I used to have barbecues with my family. But it shows how emergency services workers drop the very things that keep them well as they start to burn out. And this happens an awful lot. So, burnout, when I see it, it isn't a sudden blowout, it's a quiet, gradual erosion. And really, naming it is the first step in changing it.
And obviously, burnout is, it's quite a big word. But what does that actually sort of look and feel like for people in this sector? And how do you sort of recognise it before it becomes a crisis?
Yeah. So, burnout isn't just tiredness. One way I remember it, and this is a really useful phrase, is the idea of code red, and and that's R, E, and D. And red stands for reduced enjoyment. So we lose the joy in our work when we start to burn out. E stands for emotional exhaustion. So we're really tired at the end of the day. We've got no energy for anything else. And D of that code red stands for distancing from our feelings. We go onto autopilot when we burn out. We don't care so much about the people we serve and our colleagues. And we can also become quite cynical about our work. People who I've met with say things like, I just work the numbers. I don't care like I used to care. I feel numb. I've only got energy to collapse on the sofa with a beer at the end of the day. It's really helpful, as you say, if we can look out for the early signs before we get to burnout. And usually people go through a period of problem stress before they reach burnout. And what you might be looking for here are signs like irritability, poor sleep, pulling back from your team. And spotting these early signs gives us the best chance to turn things around before we end up in burnout.
This episode of the Emergency Services Times podcast is sponsored by MSA Safety, proudly supporting emergency services and first responders on the front line. At MSA Safety, protecting first responders isn't just what we do, it's who we are. We work closely with fire and rescue services across the UK to develop and deliver safety solutions designed to meet your ever-evolving needs. That includes MSA Bristol Firefighter PPE, trusted by services across the UK and beyond, shaped through years of collaboration with frontline teams. It also includes our growing investment in innovation and technology, from the connected M1 SCBA modular solution to our agile, fully managed service model that helps keep crews protected and ready to respond. But for us, safety goes beyond equipment. We believe in standing shoulder to shoulder with the people who dedicate their lives to protecting others, whether it's supporting firefighter charities, backing mental health initiatives, or showing up for community events. MSA is proud to be part of the emergency services family. To learn more about our work in the UK and how we're supporting first responders every step of the way, visit www.msasafety.com. With MSA Safety, when you go in, we go in with you.
And so at the show, you are going to be speaking alongside Nick Smart. So, what can attendees expect from that session, and why is it such an important conversation to be having now?
Yeah, I'm consider myself so fortunate to be talking with Nick at the conference. I mean, Nick brings a powerful advocacy from policing, and especially how burnout and mental health affects police, including senior leaders. And we'll talk honestly about the silence and emotional weight of the job and what really helps. We're not going to be talking about quick fixes, but we're going to be talking about how we can build cultures that support each other. So, burnout is not a flaw, it's a predictable risk in high pressure roles, but one we can tackle together.
And for anyone that's listening who might be feeling overwhelmed or, supporting colleagues who are, what is one small step that you'd suggest that they take today?
The one small step, the most important step, is don't go silent. So burnout thrives in silence, and recovery begins with connecting with people. So if you are worried you're burning out, reach out to a good colleague, to a friend, to family, or if none of those are available, reach out to a support service that is available. If we're looking to support colleagues who we're worried about burning out, then I talk about the 3 L's: look, listen, and link. So look for those signs of burnout. Emergency services workers are really good at the game face. They don't show their feelings, but you might notice those signs in things like somebody becomes a bit more withdrawn from the team. Somebody who's normally easygoing is much more irritable, or somebody is overworking. Overworking can be a sign of burnout, oddly. And if you see those signs, be brave, be courageous, ask your colleague how they are. They'll probably say, I'm fine. But if they really think you want to know and you care, they will open up to you. And then your job is just to listen, but also, if necessary, link them to who can help. So know what's around, know what support services are around, know who's there in your organisation that can help. And that's what I'd do if I was had a colleague I'm worried about.
From tackling burnout to finding new ways to recharge, the health and wellbeing theme at the Emergency Services Show also shines a light on the power of the outdoors. One charity bringing that message to the collaboration zone is Mind Over Mountains. I spoke with Helen Waldridge, their head of communications and partnerships, to find out how they're helping people boost their wellbeing through walking, coaching, and spending time in nature. We also discuss what you can expect when you meet them at the show.
Mind Over Mountains is I would say, small but mighty charity. We are a mental health charity and we are offering wellbeing support, but in a very different way. So instead of having an appointment with a counsellor or a coach where you're sat in a room and having to talk face to face, which can be really difficult for a lot of people, we offer professional mental health support out in nature. So we organise group walks and retreats where you are literally hiking out in beautiful countryside, getting the benefit of nature, but walking alongside you and offering professional support are our trained coaches and qualified counsellors. So it's a completely different way of getting that same mental health support, but without any kind of pressure. And you're in a big group of like-minded people. So you also get that peer support of everybody else in the group. And of course, we all know just how important being outdoors in nature is for our mental health. It can be difficult to achieve that, but by coming on one of our walks, you get a full day out in nature and learn proper techniques for how you can use nature on a day-to-day basis to help manage your mental well-being.
And you'll be part of the collaboration hub at the Emergency Services Show this year. So what can visitors expect when they come and see you guys there?
So they can come and chat to us about what our charity offers for them as individuals, and also for teams. So we provide events, walks and retreats specifically for members of the emergency services, where levels of trauma are obviously so much higher and the need for wellbeing support is so critical. And so we are looking particularly to engage with the people who look after wellbeing within organisations, so we can chat about what support our charity can offer to their organisations and their teams.
And your approach combines obviously the walking with the coaching and the counselling. Why does that work? And could you perhaps share a quick example of the impact that it's had?
Yeah, I think the critical thing is that it takes the pressure off. So a lot of us, might be facing real struggles with our mental well-being, with overwhelm, with anxiety, with trauma, but we don't necessarily self-define as people who want to go and sit with a counsellor and have a face-to-face appointment. Whilst that is also a fantastic way of getting help, this is a slightly lower pressure approach. You don't have to sit and talk face-to-face. You're walking alongside which can make a huge difference in the level to which you feel comfortable opening up and talking about how you're feeling and what you're dealing with. It makes you feel less of a burden, so you're not struggling to talk like you might with colleagues or friends or family, where you feel you don't want to kind of bring things down as such. You're talking to professionals, but it's very relaxed because you're outdoors in the natural environment on a walk. It's a way to get professional support, but actually having a really wonderful day as well and having a really positive opportunity. There are so many examples of absolutely life-changing responses to what we offer. We've had paramedics particularly attending retreats with us, members of the police service. We have had, there's a particularly young individual, a guy who was working with the police at the time, had experienced a lot of trauma. He was actually considering taking his own life at the point where he attended a walking retreat for a weekend with us. And he just found that the opportunity to open up and talk and realize that he wasn't alone in what he was experiencing, and to get some techniques for how to manage the day-to-day overwhelm that he was feeling has been life-changing for him. He, as a result, is a huge advocate for what we do, and he has become a walk leader in his local community to help other people to get outdoors into nature, because he has recognised just how powerful that is and the need for it in managing day-to-day mental health.
Love the work that you guys are doing. It's really so important.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Helen. We're really looking forward to having Mind Over Mountains with us at the Emergency Services Show in September.
Looking forward to being there. Thank you.
This year, there's a real focus on supporting the people who keep us safe, both physically and mentally. In the live demo area, you'll see Team Police, Police Sport UK and the British Firefighters Challenge and the Blue Light Health Club in action. So think hands-on fitness, practical nutrition tips and ideas to really help build resilience, all the things that really make a difference for people in high stress roles. And of course, don't miss the people and skills stage, where we've got sessions that will really dig into avoiding burnout, staying well, and looking after yourself while doing demanding work. It's going to be packed with inspiration and practical advice that you can really take away and actually use. So that's your quick tour of what's coming up at the show this year. So from expert insights on staying well with Richard Duggins, to the inspiring work of Mind Over Mountains and all the action in the fitness and community areas. We really believe that helping the helpers isn't just a side story, it's really central to creating a strong, resilient and high-performing emergency service. There's so much on offer this year, and the people and skills stage and live demos are a great place to start. Make sure you check out the full programme at www.emergencyuk.com and register for your free ticket. In the next episode, we'll be looking at everything the Emergency Tech Show has to offer, so stay tuned.